welcome to the Week in Review, the show that brings you up to date on the week that was. Here are the top stories. Union budget tries to spur growth, but spooks markets. NTPC tries to stay out of Ambani dispute, redirects cheap gas to its Gujarat plants. Air India to get new independent directors. The week began with Finance Minister Pranab Mukherjee unveiling a union budget meant to spur growth. Mukherjee announced massive spending hikes for rural India and for infrastructure. He also promised to create more than 1 crore of jobs every year. But the higher spending could be costly. The budget projected India's fiscal deficit would rise to 6.8% for the year ending March 31st, 2010. This is much higher than the 6.2% deficit last year and the 2.7% for the fiscal 2007-2008. Industry reactions to the budget were mixed. Corporate leaders welcomed the abolishing of the fringe benefit tax and the commodities transaction tax, but said they expected more.
I'm disappointed. I was expecting more. I was expecting a lot of boost to the economy and to the manufacturing sector in particular. I don't think there's much in it except for the FPT and CTT, which was long awaited, and I'm glad that it's come through.
To learn more about the budget, we go over to Mint's Deputy Managing Editor, Anil Padmanabhan. Anil, what was the message from this year's budget?
It's a pro-growth budget with enough markers on reforms, which surprisingly has eluded everyone who has been watching this budget from outside, particularly the markets. But looking ahead, it's a gamble with growth because there is a huge borrowing that will be required to fund this kind of growth. And depending on where and how the government manages to raise the borrowing, it will determine not only the recovery but also the interest rate scenario in this country.
And is this strategy going to work?
It's like I said, it's a gamble. A lot depends on the fact that the US economy hits the bottom from Q3 and then kind of levels out and picks up from the first quarter of next year, and also that the monsoon is not as bad as everybody is making it out to be. So provided these two stay in play, I think it's a gamble that should work.
The state-run power company NTPC is trying to shield itself from the gas dispute between RIL and RNRL. The Power Ministry wants the government to redistribute cheap gas meant for its plants in the Delhi area to its plants in Gujarat. To find out more, we again go over to Anil. Anil, how is NTPC dealing with the fallout of the dispute between RIL and RNRL?
Okay, first off, we're primarily talking about a resource which is very limited, in this case gas, and clearly there are many takers for this natural resource. So the one big issue that comes up is pricing. Having said that, now there are two sets of prices in play. One that the government has decided on which the basis the gas would be allocated and at what price to whom. Now, preceding this deal is this deal that RIL struck bilaterally with its then family concern, but which had a split subsequently, the Anil Ambani group, to supply gas at a cheaper rate and at the same price to NTPC. Now, because this legal dispute between the two Ambani brothers has gone into court, NTPC is also being drawn into it and is very scared that it might end up as a victim of collateral damage. So all its efforts in this week is trying to sequester itself from this legal dispute to ensure that it doesn't get hurt in the process.
The Maharaja is getting new advisors. This week the government indicated that it would appoint corporate heads as directors of Air India. Last month, the troubled national carrier had asked the government for a bailout after it ran out of cash and asked its employees to delay receiving their salaries. Dark clouds are gathering, and that could be good news. The monsoons picked up across most of India over the last week. Rainfall was just 8% below normal in early July, an improvement over the end of June, when rain was nearly 30% below normal. That's all we have for you this week. Thanks for watching.